Marathon is going to be dead on arrival, and there's nobody else to blame but Bungie. I don't think I've ever seen such a colossal fuck up from a $1 billion company in all of my life. This is bad. And it's so bad that I can only really see three different outcomes happen right here. One, just cancel the game. That's it. We're done. Cut your losses and move on. Number two, they release the game in September like they say they're going to. Game comes out, doesn't sell enough, and then it shuts down within a week, just like Concord. Or number three, which is basically the same thing as number two, is that they delay the game for at least a year to try to change it, but the backlash is still going to be so bad from this issue that nobody's going to want to fucking play it. So then it's going to shut down anyway. So really, you just need to cancel the game. But you're probably wondering, what did Bungie do that was so bad that these are the only possible outcomes for this game if it ever releases? Let's get into it. Now, for those who don't know what Marathon is, let's kind of describe what this game is going to be at the end of its life, or when it comes out, rather. Let's see what this game is going to be. Let's take a look at the Steam page. So we got the Steam page for Marathon. I mean, like, looks pretty cool. Art style looks good. Trailers look good. It's kind of fun. Let's kind of figure out what the game's about, like what we're going to be doing. All right, like based on this one, it's a team-based extraction shooter. We're gonna choose our runner, a cybernetic mercenary with unique abilities. Okay, cool. Battle rival teams, security forces for weapons and upgrades. Fill vault, take on high-stakes challenges, and unravel the colony's mysteries. Okay, that's not really telling me a whole lot. I mean, I guess we're gonna be doing some challenges and stuff like that. Get some more weapons and upgrades. So the more you play, the more level up you're going to get, and higher things you're going to be able to take on. So let's see if they can talk a little bit more about that. Playtest is over, so it doesn't matter. From the creators of Halo and Destiny, I like that game. Team-based extraction shooter. Crews of threes, you battle rival teams, house security forces. Survive, loot yours. Okay, so we're gathering that if you die, you lose everything, you know? So, all right, let's see more about this. Choose from a roster of cybernetic mercenaries. Yeah, we get it. They have unique abilities. Okay, you already said that. Customized playstyle, weapons, implants. Okay, that's a new thing that they mentioned. Implants. They didn't mention that up here. So that's something new. What are the implants? We'll see. They're probably upgrades. That's probably the same thing as the upgrades. So technically, they did already mention that. Equipment you collect in your runs. Every match is a chance to experiment, build craft, come back stronger. Okay. You can kind of say that about any game, though. So what's really making this unique besides we're being cybernetic mercenaries with unique abilities? I mean, and that's not really unique because you have Apex Legends down here, which all the characters have unique abilities and stuff like that. So let's read a little more. Some lore. Thriving colony of battleground rival factions. Track down weapons valuable and the edge they need to win. Okay. Fun, competitive, and all skills. Yeah, it's fun and competitive and all skills, but you don't have a fucking solo queue mode. That makes a lot of sense. Multiple maps to choose from, sharpen skills in starter areas, higher stakes zones, so and rank mode. So they're basically trying to say that there's easier zones and there's higher tier zones, which, I mean, that's kind of a staple in extraction shooters. I mean, even if you look at like the most basic ones, like DMZ and Call of Duty, and you can see the same thing. And then committed to fair play, and that's just some bullshit about cheaters. But my whole problem with this, and I know you probably think I'm a little nitpicky, but why? What makes this stand out besides the art style? Because watching this gunplay, and I know it's on screen right now, this gunplay doesn't look much different than Destiny. Not even the abilities, really. Like, okay, he used like a grenade to knock him off the fucking roof, and then his teammates shot him. Okay. Now, I have said that I haven't played this before. I didn't get to play the alpha, but still, like, besides the art style, what is making this unique? Now, the real purpose of this segment is to really show, like, what the average consumer is going to see. Average consumer might watch a couple of trailers, they might not watch all of them, and they think to themselves that it's just going to be like some generic extraction shooter based on all the reading that they have there, besides some of the lore stuff and the art style, right? And maybe the hero facts of that there too. I'm not really familiar how unique that is with extraction shooters and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you're comparing it to video games on a whole, there's a lot of games out there with heroes and like unique abilities and stuff like that. I mentioned Apex Legends, but you also got like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, Team Fortress 2. It's not a new concept. It may be for extraction shooters, but in the whole thing of gaming, it's not a new concept. So somebody who's trying to get into extraction shooters wouldn't really do that much to them. These were kind of my concerns before I saw anything else from the alpha and all that other stuff. But what happened next really cemented this game into being dead on arrival. About a week after the Marathon Alpha ended, user on Twitter, yes, I still call it Twitter, not fucking X, posted this tweet. The Marathon Alpha released recently, and its environments are covered with assets lifted from the poster designs it made in 2017 at Bungie at Joseph Cross. When I first saw this, I thought there's no fucking way Bungie got caught in this shit again. Well, if we look at the tweet again, you can see areas that are just straight up copied. Not taking inspiration from, just straight up copied into Bungie's Marathon. What the fuck? She would then go on to say the following. Bungie is, of course, not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language I've refined for the last decade. But clearly, my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their game without pay or attribution. I don't have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I've lost count of the number of times a major company has deemed it easier to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work than to write me an email. In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I'm tired of designers from huge companies mood boarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living. And I mean, honestly, I can't blame her. I'd probably be in the same position as her. But it somehow gets worse with this next example of plagiarism. This is the nail in the coffin, I feel like. This is absolutely proof that whoever has did this did not give a fuck, and they just copied it straight up. Now, I got a little bit of context for this next one, because when I first saw it, I didn't understand it, but then after the context, oh god, it's bad. Now, this is from an old webcomic called Lost. It was a popular meme back in the day. But as you can see, the main character, his girlfriend, has a miscarriage. And on the right side of this image, we can see how a lot of people used to draw it with just lines. This is what popular meme was. Now, you're probably wondering why I even bring this up. And I didn't get this either. I didn't know what this comic was at first. But when you see the next part, it's really damning. But basically, this is why this comes up. Because it seems that Antireal had lost their designs for 6 years. Nobody caught on. This is back in 2024. But let's just look at Marathon. Because they couldn't possibly copy this, right?
Oh.
How fucking stupid are you people? Let's see how they try to get themselves out of this one, huh? Bungie seems to have a history of plagiarism, especially in the last 5 years. Let's take a look. This is a chart of all the last 4 times, including this time, that Bungie has been accused of plagiarizing. These are all within the last 5 years. Now, I don't have the examples to show exactly, but if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. to where you can actually see those. But back in 2021, Destiny 2 Witch Queen trailer used fan art of Zivu Araf in trailer without credit. And then they credited the artist and mistake notice after. Like, how? How do you release a trailer and then this is the case, right? Then we look at the Destiny 2 cutscene in 2023. Use near identical fan art in a cutscene. They apologize, compensated the artist. How do you not know this isn't yours in the first place? Again, Destiny 2 Ace of Spades Nerf gun. Copy designed for the Nerf replica, identical patterns. In contact to compensate in credit. Again, how does this fucking happen? Like, the Nerf one's probably the biggest one because you can literally look at some of the patterns and it's exactly the fucking same. And then we have Marathon Now. No response. Oh, wait. But they did respond. Here on the Marathon Dev Team Twitter, we could see their initial response. On May 15th, the same day that this was called out, later in the day though, we immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Bungie and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in the texture sheet that was ultimately used in-game. Fucking wow. They continued. The issue was unknown by our existing art team, and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously. We have reached out to Antireal to discuss this issue and are committed to do right by the artists. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work of artists without their permission. To prevent similar issues in the future, we are conducting a thorough review of our in-game assets, specifically those done by former Bungie artists, and implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we are committed to do right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Isn't that just the most corporate response ever? But it doesn't end there, because the next day, on the 16th, they had a planned live stream to show more gameplay of Marathon. And well, that went just about as well as you expected for them. Here's a couple of clips from that.
Great. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Antireal, whose work was used in this case. And I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience.
Now I get it. Pretty corporate still. But that was a personal apology. Let's hear the little explanation for what happened.
Came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon took elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in 2020. The decal sheet included icons and text elements. These elements ended up in our alpha build, and there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight, and we are working on and 100% committed to our review process to ensure instances like this don't happen again on Marathon or at Bungie. A few of the things that we've done over the last 24 hours and what we're doing to shore up the review process are as follows. We've reached out to Antireal, the artist in question, and followed up to ensure that we do right by this artist. We're auditing all of the previous work by the artist, the internal artist, including the environment decals already in the build, which is part of why we're delaying some of the content we're going to show today. And we're committed to removing anything that is questionably or inappropriately sourced. We're doing a very broad decal audit, and if we locate any other details or elements, we'll make sure that those are eliminated, recreated in-house for sure. Hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years, internally and externally, and we share many influences, including modernism, Swiss typography, 2000s style vector art, cyberpunk, and of course the original Marathon trilogy. Our style is a result of all of those inspirations. It's also worth noting that none of our external partners who've worked on branding or any part of the visual design of our game were involved with this situation. And lastly, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently and producing and making a living doing commercial or fine art. And we've worked with many of them. It's one of my favorite parts of the job is to make those connections and create content and collaborate. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Antireal, whose work was used in this case. And I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience.
I know it was a long clip. We're going to touch on some of it right now. The first thing that stuck out to me was at the beginning of the clip where he mentions that the alleged Bungie artist that plagiarized Antireal's work, put these decals back on a texture sheet that was reported in 2020. That's 5 years ago. It's 2025 now. Like, you guys couldn't notice that? Really? Are you kidding me? The second thing really that bothers me is that they're putting it on one singular employee that doesn't work with the company anymore. Now, I think that's total bullshit, and this is why I think that. Someone had stated to Anti-Real that they noticed that Joseph Craw also follows you. Is there any insight you can give about the connection there? Then Anti-Real responds saying, he's followed me for a few years, and a few others from Bungie. Never had any communication. Now, these tweets lead me to believe that it wasn't just a singular employee. It was just a singular employee that happened to get caught. And while I say that it isn't fair to roll the entire art department in, because I'm sure there are people there just doing their job and they're doing the best work with what they were given based on the texture sheets they had in game. But how can you not think that when other employees are following this artist and they have been for years? And I know, like I said, it's unfair, but it just makes me feel bad for the actual artists there that are doing their jobs and just trying to make a living, you know? And it seems things are getting much worse for Bungie too, as old ex-employees who worked on Marathon are coming out and speaking out about the development cycle of the game. We're not going to get into this here today. However, if you're interested, Destin just posted a very interesting video about this. I'll leave a link in the description. So this is where we kind of come back to the three things I mentioned in the beginning of the video, right? You either cancel the game, which is not going to look good at all, but you kind of have to at this point. You release the game and then it gets shut down, or you delay it and then it's probably going to get shut down within a week anyway, right? All these options end up being very bad for Bungie. They screwed themselves in this situation, and I can't really feel bad for them because, like I said, they said that this was pushed into the game in 2020. Nobody knows for 5 years. Nobody knows for 5 years. So I can't really feel bad for them at all. They brought it on themselves. And we'll really see what happens in the future, but overall it's not looking good for Bungie, and Marathon's going to be dead on arrival anyway. But thank you guys for so much watching. I'm going to leave Antireal's coffee page and her SoundCloud page in the description. Go support her. She makes some really good music. I really like it. But anyway, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one.